This is the Jerry Callahan Show.
So how is this going to work exactly? Today in Maryland, Kamala Harris is going to make a public appearance. Yes, she's going to stand up on stage and read one of her pre-scripted speeches. I'm going to guess the exact same one she's been delivering at every appearance. And alongside her, holding her hand, raising her arm to the crowd, will be Joseph Robino Biden. The two of them are making an appearance today. That would be 27 days since she led the coup to remove him from the race, since she threatened to use the 25th Amendment because he is no longer fit to serve to get him to step aside. Now her goal daily, and the goal of her campaign staff and the media, which is one and the same, is to distance herself from the policies of Joe Biden, which have been a disaster for this country. We all know the numbers. Gas prices are up 50%, groceries more than 20%. Credit card debt in the last 3.5 years has risen 45%. Economically, the man has been an abject disaster, and she's been right there with him. So for the next 81 days till November 5th, her goal is to separate herself, to distance herself from him. Axios, which is essentially the media wing of the Harris-Walz campaign, reported 2 days ago that that she's making an effort. Here we go from Axios. Vice President Kamala Harris is hoping to distance herself from Joe Biden's unpopularity on the economy and plans to focus on middle-class worries and woes. So she has to come up with a new and different economic plan than her boss, her current boss, who's not gone. He's still around. He's still essentially serving as president. He made an appearance yesterday. It went about the way you would expect. It was a disaster. But today, he's going to be in Maryland with her, and they're going to smile, and they're going to project joy and pretend that he is supporting her 100%. And she is going to pretend she didn't try to overthrow him 27 days ago. Every appearance she makes is uncomfortable and cringy. This is going to be the cringiest. And I assume they're not going to let him say much because he's incapable of saying much. But what's she going to do to, quote, distance herself from him when she's standing on the stage with him? I assume this will be the last appearance they make together. He's claiming he's going to campaign for her, but that's the last thing she wants. She can't be connected at the hip, joined at the hip with him if she wants to step out of his shadow and pretend that she's going to propose a different economic plan, which she's going to do Friday. Thursday, she appears with him. That's today. Tomorrow, she gives a speech on economic policy, which is supposed to be different than his, the one that has driven this country into real economic decline. I mean, they're going to lie today. That's what he does. That's what she does. They're going to tell you Bidenomics is working. She's on record saying it over and over again that, yes, Bidenomics is working. We have the strongest economy in the world. That's all they have. That's all they can do is lie. They can't admit people are struggling. They can't admit people can't afford groceries and rent. That's not going to work as a economic plan going forward. So she has to come up with something different. And what she's going to do tomorrow, not today with him, tomorrow, is blame greedy corporations. Yes, she's going with the Bernie Sanders, Liz Warren, Venezuela plan. Blame greedy corporations and propose price controls. That's Kamala Harris's economic plan. Price controls, which have been tried in other places and failed everywhere. It leads to shortages. It leads to further economic decline. But I guess it's a Democrat populist message. Blame the corporations. I want to know, is she going to break out the Snickers bar like he did and tell you that Snickers bars aren't as big as they used to be. And that's an example of corporate greed. God, I hope so. That is just the silliest damn thing we've ever heard from this corpse. Biden telling you Snickers bars, which again is a lie. It's not true. And even if it were, that's what you're going to propose to the American people, that we're going to make sure Snickers bars go back to their original size? I have a question and nobody can answer it. If corporations are the reason, corporate greed is the reason we are in this current dire economic situation, why did they just get greedy under Biden and Harris? Weren't corporations greedy 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago? Why did corporations just decide to get greedy when Biden and Harris were elected 3.5 years ago? Was it just one day they woke up, the CEO of whatever, GM or Nabisco woke up one day and said, you know what, let's shrink some of the packages. Let's jack up the prices and gouge the American people. They just did that when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took office. And again, how does she distance herself from the guy who will be on the stage with her? How does she distance herself from the guy she has been telling you for 3.5 years is doing a wonderful job on the economy? How does she distance herself from the policies of her running mate, of her boss for the last 4 years? How does she distance herself from Bidenomics when she's on record touting Bidenomics over and over and over again? It would take a really smart person, a really cunning person to do that. She's not that. She's incapable. And again, she's going to have the media telling you how wonderful she is. She already does. This is a media-driven campaign. They're the ones telling you that that she's full of joy and fun, and she delivers a positive message while Trump is negative and all about grievance and insulting people. They're going to run with that. They're going to do their best, but they can't get rid of this guy yet. He's looming over her and over the Democrat Party for the next 81 days. Yesterday, Biden made an appearance, and it was, if you were wondering how he's doing, not well, not well. He's still in decline. He's still struggling just to read a teleprompter. And he's still getting a little snippy because he's not getting enough credit for the economy, for the state of the economy. He actually believes that. He actually thinks that things are going great and he deserves more credit. Watch this.
Yes. Yes. Shh. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm talking to them first, okay? The audience first, okay? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President. Thank you, President. Thank you, President. Thank you all.
Has the U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President?
Yes, yes, yes. I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And Mr. President,
Anyway,
did you know your
Thank you so much. We got to move this way, Gabe.
Mr. President, did you know your son reached out to a U.S. ambassador about Burisma?
Thank you, President. We're on this way. Thank you so much.
That guy, not only does he have to appear today with Kamala, he has to give a speech at the Democratic convention on Monday, I believe. First day of the convention, he's going to shuffle out, read the teleprompter for a few minutes, and then disappear. The last thing they want is him hanging around. So that guy is sticking around for the next 81 days, telling you that the economy's going great and demanding the media start writing it that way. He's not getting enough credit. Kamala can only do so much. She's just not adroit enough to pull off this magic trick of pretending she wasn't in the administration for the last 4 years. I'm not sure how that's going to work. again, her economic policies are his economic policies. She said it over. So how is she going to suddenly turn away and say, you know what? All that stuff we did the last 3.5 years, that wasn't me. That was him. Yes. Here's KJP, who, again, just like her, just like Kamala, is incapable of pulling off this trick. They're incapable of pivoting and making you believe them as opposed to your lying eyes. Peter Ducey asks her about the Axios piece, which says she's going to distance herself and she's going to have a different economic message than the one Joe Biden has been touting for the last telling you. Biden's been telling you that it's been working, that it's great, that we have the strongest economy in the world. Everybody knows that's a lie. Everybody who goes to the grocery store, the gas station, or tries to buy a car knows it is a lie. He is lying. She has been lying. And now they want you to think she's telling the truth. Listen to this.
When did you guys learn that Vice President Harris wants to distance herself from Bidenomics?
Why do you think that?
Axios is now reporting that she is hoping to distance herself from President Biden's unpopularity on the economy. Can you blame her?
Do you know this is the Biden-Harris administration? Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
But if the president's policies on the economy were working, or if they were popular, wouldn't he still be the candidate?
You literally just had the chair of the CEA here who laid out a pretty robust point by point about the economy and what has happened under the Biden-Harris administration. And I thought it was pretty convincing.
Yeah, pretty convincing. Everybody's convinced. All the people going to the store today, they're convinced that the price of eggs isn't up 110% under Joe Biden. And if you look a little further, you know why we have inflation. You know why we're in this situation. It's because of him and her. She delivered the deciding vote in the Inflation Reduction Act, which increased inflation, of course. She voted for every spending measure, which is what led to inflation. So she's not only part of it, she's responsible for it. If you were to say, name one person most responsible for inflation in the last 3.5 years, it would be Kamala Harris. So if you're voting on economic issues, and it is far and away, the economy is far and away the number one issue to voters, how can you vote for her and think things will be different for the last 4 years? I know I asked the same question about immigration, but what do you think changes if you vote for Kamala Harris for 4 more years? I'll tell you what, it gets worse. She's worse. She wanted to spend more than Joe Biden. She supported the Green New Deal, which would have cost $93 trillion. She supported Medicare for all, which would have cost $44 trillion. The economy would be worse. Inflation would be worse if Kamala Harris got her way. And we know she's a devout left-wing lunatic who will spend anything and everything, who doesn't really understand the economy at all. She doesn't understand anything. Trump's right. She's not smart enough to handle the economy. She can't do it. It's all illusion. It's all a big illusion. But Tim Walz, is this her on inflation? This should be a Trump ad in every swing state. She is just not smart enough. I'm sorry. She might be a nice person, which I don't think she is. We know that because her entire staff has quit. She is a tyrant behind the scenes. She is a mean girl. That's why all her spokespeople have quit. That's why there's been a 92% turnover in 3 years in her office, because she's not a nice person, and nor is she a smart person. Is this her being asked about the economy?
Yeah, and her idea for population.
Oh, yes. This snuck out. Didn't get a lot of coverage, this comment, but she has a plan. It's to decrease population. Yes, she said it. These are her words. You don't see this. on MSNBC too often, but listen to this.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Decrease population. That's the plan. She wants to decrease population. Oh, man. She said it. That's her. She can't deny it, but I guess they will. I want to get to Tim Walz made the case. Again, he's not doing interviews either because he is a disaster. He is the worst vice presidential pick I think I've ever seen. It's not just stolen valor. It is so much more. Everything about him is a lie. We played you the video yesterday, which is remarkable, where he ordered the cops in Minneapolis to shoot people with paintball guns for sitting on their porches on a warm summer night. That is real. I mean, that is a man who is just a fanatic, just a tyrant, a lunatic, and a fanatic. He let the BLM riders torch the city, but when people sat on their porches on a warm summer night, he ordered the cops to light them up with paintball guns. That guy made a case yesterday. This is real on why Kamala Harris understands working people more than Donald Trump. Again, neither of these people, neither Walz or Harris, has ever had a job in the private sector, has ever met a payroll, has any clue what it's like to hold a real job. Both of them been sucking on the teat of the taxpayers for their entire adult lives. That's a problem. They don't know what it's like to go to work. They don't know what it's like to hold a real job. But he makes a case. He tries to, because Kamala allegedly worked at McDonald's when she was in high school. Listen to this.
You heard the story. You knew Vice President Harris grew up in a middle-class family, picked up shifts at that McDonald's as a student. I keep asking this to make a contrast here. Can you simply picture Donald Trump working at a McDonald's trying to make a McFlurry or something? He knows us. He couldn't run that damn McFlurry machine if it cost him anything. So
there's your ad for the Harris-Walz campaign. Kamala can work a McFlurry machine. These people are just incompetent. She can work a McFlurry machine. First of all, I don't care. Secondly, I don't believe it. Those McFlurry machines, they break all the time. I don't think she could even do it. I'm not even sure she worked at McDonald's. I think she just made that up. But Donald Trump built skyscrapers. Donald Trump changed the landscape in New York City. He built hotels. He built buildings in New York City. And this clown wants you to think he couldn't work a McFlurry machine. Trump knows McDonald's. I'm pretty sure he's been there once or twice. And I wouldn't care if he could or couldn't work a fry-later or make a burger or a McFlurry. That's your message. That's why they're hiding. These people are just buffoons, fools. This guy is a clown and a fool and a communist. Yes, a communist. I think it's time we address that. There's a man who went to China 30 times, who had his wedding day on the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, who is 100% supportive of the Chinese Communist Party. That's this guy. That's Tim Walz. And he won't have to answer for it. Maybe not till the debate. Maybe J.D. Vance will put him on the spot when they actually debate, but the media won't. They sure won't. They don't care. They have no interest in putting these people on the spot. They're too busy celebrating joy. Oh, they just love the joy. Oh, I should mention, Kamala and Tim Walz sat down for their first interview. Yeah, this was big. They sat down for their first interview with each other. Yes, they released a tape last night, a video of the two of them, Kamala and Tim, conversing and laughing and showing you what joy that they have as they campaign. And MSNBC, I believe, was the first to run this video, and they thought it was just wonderful. Do we have that, Ironhead?
Yes, we do.
This is the state of your media. Kamala and Tim won't talk to them, won't answer their questions, won't hold a press conference, won't say a freaking word. But they release a video of the two of them giggling, and MSNBC thought it was wonderful. Watch this.
Is releasing this new video tonight. Take a look.
I was hoping maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege. I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well, we're doing it together, buddy. We're doing it together.
That's right. Governor Walz missed a call from the vice president asking him to be her running mate because he doesn't answer numbers he doesn't recognize like the rest of us. It's that joy and laughter you saw in that video that is really causing Donald Trump to spiral.
That joy and laughter is causing Trump to spiral. They're running with that. They're actually saying that out loud. Well, we're going to get a lot more soon. The Democratic convention's coming up next week. Biden's going to speak. Kamala's going to speak. Lots of people, lots of crazy left wingers are going to speak. And Antifa and the pro-Hamas crowd are gearing up. The number of protesters is staggering. We got a warm up. We got a preview of that last night in New York when Kamala made an appearance. It wasn't a public appearance. It was a private fundraiser. But the pro-Hamas goons showed up anyway and set off smoke bombs. This is going to be crazy next week, and I can't wait. We'll tell you about that. And a big day in Kabul, a big anniversary in Afghanistan, and a parade, a military parade with our stuff. This was disgusting, and it should piss off every American. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Just a second.
The Democrats will gather in Chicago beginning Monday. And it's supposed to be a celebration. Generally, you get a big bounce out of these conventions because it's all happy talk and cheers. And at least it'll be for them. It'll be a lot of lies about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. She won't be asked why she lied to the American public for 3 years about the state of Joe Biden's mind. That won't come up. And it'll be a lot of joy. Tim Walz will go out there waving his arms like Richard Simmons. By the way, we're not done with Tim Walz. This guy has real skeletons in his closet. I predict there'll be more to come. Not just the stolen valor, not just shooting people with paintball guns and imprisoning business owners who are trying to make a living. There's a lot more dirt on this guy, and it's coming in the next 81 days. Get ready for it. But he'll be out there dancing and prancing on stage, and she'll be giggling and cackling, and the media will be just fawning over them for 4 days. But there's one variable that they can't control, and it's the pro-Hamas lunatics, the anarchists, the climate change lunatics. They're all heading to Chicago as we speak. The list of groups who've applied for permits to protest is like endless. There are hundreds of them. There will be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of this rabble showing up, trying to disrupt the proceedings. Last night in New York, we're watching it right now, there was a protest, a riot outside in Harlem, outside an event that Harris was attending. They set off smoke bombs. They assaulted cops. The latest is 2 arrests because, we don't like to arrest too many of these people because they're on the same team. But it got ugly. It got violent. This is from the Daily Mail. Pro-Palestinian groups are planning to bust tens of thousands of protesters to Chicago next week to demonstrate at the DNC. Fervent critics of America's support of Israel in the war in Gaza insist their plans haven't changed since Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Kamala took the nomination, even though she's more sympathetic to Palestinians. Hatim Abduyaya, the national chair of the U.S. Palestinian Community Network, told NBC demonstrators will be bussed in from nearby states. Their plans were revealed as Biden and Harris prepared to appear in public for the first time since he was forced out of the race. They are coming out in full force. It's going to get violent. It's going to feel like 1968. And I'm not sure Kamala Harris knows what to do. I mean, she would like to abandon Israel completely, but she has to walk that tightrope. She has to show some political skill here, which she does not have. So while inside the arena, it's going to be joy and happy talk, outside the arena, it's going to be mayhem. I'm not sure the Chicago police are ready for what's coming. I mean, they're going all in on this, fighting to save pro-Hamas. These are people who don't care that Hamas started the war, that Hamas raped women, murdered women, and raped their corpses, killed babies, and still hold hostages, including Americans. The number of mentions the hostages will get at this convention is probably zero. Democrats, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they don't care about these hostages. They care about winning Michigan. That's what this is going to be all about. If they didn't think that they had to tolerate this, that they had to sympathize with these savages, they wouldn't. But they have to because they want to win Michigan. And I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be wild. I would hate to be a store owner or a resident of Chicago because this riffraff, these violent anarchists are heading your way as we speak. It is going to get crazy. And I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of crazy, one of the stars on MSNBC, Joy Reid, we played her a few times. I think she's coming unraveled. I think she's losing it. The idea, just the thought that someone might vote for Trump over Kamala and Walz has pushed her over the edge. I wonder what her bosses think. I mean, she does a show every night, and it's a big, it's part of their primetime lineup. And obviously, she's a virulent racist. She hates Trump with a passion, and she doesn't hold back. And then when her show's over, she does these TikTok videos, and they've become increasingly unhinged. She's the face of the Democrat Party. She is really, really unnerved by the thought of 4 more years of Trump. I don't know what she hates more, the peace or the prosperity, but she hates the thought of the country returning to what it was before Biden and Harris took a wrecking ball to it. She hates that thought of Trump and Vance taking office. This is her latest video. Tell me this person is not completely gone. That she's, I mean, this is the face of absolute Trump derangement syndrome and insanity. She's insane. Watch.
What is wrong with this man? He literally blew his whole campaign in one Twitter Spaces. His campaign staff must be pulling all their hair out. They're going to be bald-headed like me. But not as cute.
What the hell is that? What does that even mean? He blew his whole campaign? How exactly did he do that? He talked to Elon Musk for 2 hours. It went well. It was interesting. It was something different. A candidate unafraid to, talk to someone about the issues. How is that blowing your whole campaign? And why would his campaign staff pull their hair out? Look at the face on her. That person should be institutionalized. Instead, she's right now preparing for her primetime show on a major cable network. That's reason enough to vote for Trump right there, to push this lunatic completely over the edge. All right, before we get to, let's do Afghanistan, because this should, how this doesn't infuriate every American. I want you to keep something in mind before you watch this. We know the withdrawal from Afghanistan was a complete disaster. We know it was tragic. Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan prematurely because he wanted to boast. He wanted to brag. He wanted to say, I got us out before 9/11. It was poorly planned. It was poorly executed. It was inexcusable. It got 13 brave warriors killed at Abbey Gate, blown up by a terrorist. In response to that, to save face, Joe Biden ordered a drone strike, which killed a family of 10. He's never talked about it. He's never been asked about it. He's never apologized. By any definition, the way we left Afghanistan was a national embarrassment. We knew at the time we left $85 billion in advanced U.S. weaponry. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we had to do that. I'm not sure what the rush was, other than Joe Biden looking for a political talking point before 9/11. Well, there's been some question. Was the Taliban using our equipment? Could they figure it out? Could they find the keys to start all this machinery? We got our answer yesterday, the 3rd anniversary of the fall of Kabul, when after Joe Biden said that the Afghan army would hold up and the Taliban wouldn't take control, they took control in 1 day. 1 day. And here they are 3 years later, spitting in our face, showing off all their equipment. They got a big army now, man. They have an air force. They have helicopters. They didn't have those before. They were cavemen. They had Kalashnikovs. They had rifles and roadside bombs. They didn't have this equipment until we gave it to them. Now, it's humiliating for this country. But again, see if you can find that for me, Ironhead. Joe Biden said, quote, it was a terrific success. This is what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris defined as success. And when she was asked her view on this, she said she was the last person in the room And she agreed with Biden that we should do this, that we should pull out prematurely and allow this, leave this equipment for the Taliban, which waved their flags and cheered and celebrated while driving our equipment and flying our helicopters in a military parade. This must be so painful for the families who lost loved ones, for the families who lost soldiers. We lost 2,300 soldiers in Afghanistan. We fought there for 20 years, and this is the end result. And Kamala Harris won't be asked about it. Joe Biden won't be asked about it. They'll just let it slide like everything else. They'll give it a good leaving alone and tell you, yeah, Joe Biden's foreign policy has been wonderful. This is Joe Biden's foreign policy. This is Kamala Harris's foreign policy. This is what Biden called a tremendous success. This. I'd hate to see what a failure would be, according to Joe Biden. Here he is.
The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals.
I'm sorry, extraordinary success. You're a family member of someone who was blown up, murdered by the savages at the gate, Abbey Gate. And you hear this liar, this piece of garbage say that was an extraordinary success due to the bravery of American troops. We want 4 more years of that. That is just staggering. It really is. That is just sickening. Look at that. Look at that. A victory parade. They have a real army now. They have real equipment. They have helicopters. They have an air force, thanks to Joe Biden. That's just wonderful, isn't it? That's an extraordinary success. That's disgusting. He is disgusting. He really is. All right. You know what we hear all the time now from Kamala Harris supporters, from the mainstream media, which is cheering her on, trying to get her over the finish line, looking the other way and telling you about joy as she ignores them, refuses to talk. It truly is a scandal when you have the woman, not just the new nominee, but the woman who was integrally involved in removing a president from the race, a sitting president, and she won't answer a question. And she knows all the questions would be softballs. She knows if she sat down with Stephanopoulos or Jonathan Karl, she knows that they would kiss her ass. And she still won't talk to them because she can't. She's not capable. And she knows there'll be no blowback, that they won't criticize her, that they will say, it's a good strategy. Just hide. That's a good strategy. Ignore us. Let us do your campaigning for you. And they'll tell you Donald Trump is mean and he's negative and he's full of grievance and he's nothing but personal attacks. Well, Trump gave a speech yesterday. He's doing a press conference today. J.D. Vance is everywhere, answering questions, taking it to them. And they'll tell you that Trump is unhinged and negative. Well, I watched much of his speech, hour and 16 minutes from Donald Trump, and it was good. He is doing what he has to do. He's sticking to the issues. He's pointing out what a radical she is, and he's setting the stage for her to flip-flop on everything because she has to. We'll give you the list of flip-flops, the latest list of flip-flops, which, by the way, we only learn about through anonymous sources. Her campaign feeds it to friendly media. They leak it. And then we say, oh, she's not against fracking anymore. She's pivoted. She's recalibrated, not flip-flop. She's recalibrated. She's evolved. But Trump went down the list yesterday, and it was perfect. This is what he must do. We'll play you that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Hear it all the time. Stick to the issues. stick to policy. Well, for the most part, Trump did that yesterday, and he did it well. I mean, he pointed out, I've given you the list before. You know what? I'm going to do it again. I might do this every day. I find it amazing that anybody, any person who's not just a radical lunatic from Cambridge, who's not some purple-haired, angry old white woman, supports any of these policies. The media will call her a moderate and a centrist, and they'll call Walz a moderate and a centrist and a folksy football coach, who, by the way, was a volunteer freshman coach bragging about winning the state championship, bragging that the varsity won state championship. Everything about Walz is a lie. But here's the list, I've given it to you before, of her views. Stop me when you get one that's moderate, okay? Just say, bing, hit a bell or something, Ironhead, when I get to one that's moderate or centrist. And these are all her views. She does not have one, not one, that would be considered moderate by any average American voter. Not one. Maybe someone on the chat line. Give me one view, one opinion, one position she has that could be genuinely considered moderate.
I have one, but she just recently stole it, and that is the tax on tips.
Taxes on tips. Yeah. Oh, that's one. Taxes on tips. She cast the deciding vote to send an army of 80,000 IRS agents after waitresses and bartenders. And now she wants you to think, we're not going to tax tips. It was the most blatant recalibration we've ever seen. But here's just a quick list. She wants to ban fracking, ban plastic straws. She wants Medicare for illegal aliens. She wants single-payer health insurance. She wants to eliminate private insurance. She wants to abolish ICE, who she compared to the KKK. She wants to defund the police, trans surgeries for minors. She wants taxpayer-funded sex change surgeries for prisoners. She believes in abortion up to the due date, third trimester abortion. She supported vax mandates. She supports reparations. She started a bail fund for rioters, violent criminals in Minneapolis. She told the rioters that they would not stop and they shouldn't stop. She believes in drag queen story hour. She believes in porn in elementary schools. She believes in an open border. She wants us to eliminate the term Islamic terrorist and the term illegal alien. She believes in DEI, affirmative action. She wants to expand and pack the Supreme Court. She believes in EV mandates. She wants to eliminate the child tax credit and decrease population. She wants Zarniev to vote. Yes, she wants convicted murderers, terrorists to vote. She supported the Green New Deal, which again would cost $93 trillion. And she wants to ban offshore drilling. That's a short list of reviews. Did you hear a moderate one there? Did you hear a centrist position?
Not a single one that wasn't plagiarized.
The only way she can do that is to flip-flop. The only way she can appear moderate is to brazenly flip-flop her view. And I assume the media will support that and applaud that. But Trump yesterday pointed this out, that by any definition, she's as radical, as extreme, as far left as any candidate we've ever had. The only one as radical as she is Walz. The two of them are fellow travelers. The two of them are Marxists who are going to tell you that we're going to have price controls tomorrow. Yes. Do we have Trump? 2 minutes of Trump yesterday. 2 minutes. And you tell me that he's not on message. I mean, you could say he's sometimes meanders. Sometimes when he ad-libs, he gets a little lost. But he gave an hour and 16-minute speech. And today he's doing a press conference. And you know what? The New York Times is invited. NBC's invited to this press conference, and he will take their questions. She won't. She won't take a question from Axios, but he will. Listen to this and tell me that he's unhinged or off message. Go ahead.
Together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Common sense. We will stop the invasion, end the migrant crime, support our great police, save Medicare, and save Social Security, which is under siege. We will strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity, hope, and joy. But for that to happen, we must never let Kamala Harris get anywhere near the White House, and we must defeat her country-destroying liberal agenda. She destroyed San Francisco. She's not going to destroy our country. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get the hell out and vote. You got to vote.
All right, tell me the unhinged part. Tell me the extreme part. Tell me how that would destroy democracy. Tell me how that's a threat to democracy. Anybody? Anybody? I mean, these are popular positions. These are overwhelmingly popular with the American people. I don't care about his personality. Maybe it grates on you. Well, you know what? Her personality is pretty grating too. And so is Tim Walz. If they get to policy, if they get to substance, it's no contest. That's what Trump has to do. He has to do that today and every day. And he has to take it to her. Let's hear her run down a list of policies she supports. Go ahead, run it down. Banning fracking, abolish ICE, open the border. Go ahead. Sex change surgeries for minors. Let's hear it all, Kamala. Let's get to that. Isn't that what this is all about? It's not a personality contest. It's not about joy and laughter. It's about that, what he just listed. All right, before we go, can we do this New York story? I think we should do this every day. Just an update, because Trump he talked about migrant crime, a whole new category of crime in the United States. That's what we're dealing with right now, a whole new category. 15 million new illegal aliens, many of whom, not all, many of whom are hardened criminals. Trump is right. They came from prisons. They are bad people that other countries foisted upon us. And they are picking up where they left off in their home countries. Well, they have a new thing going on in New York, and it's coming to a neighborhood near you. And if you vote Harris, you vote for this. They're calling them wolf packs, gangs of children in New York City who are roaming the city, robbing people, tourists and locals, of their phones and wallets and everything else. On the front page of the New York Post today is a illegal alien criminal. He's 11 years old, 11, handcuffed, arrested for robbing someone in Central Park. Listen to this. New York police officer described a new category of crime, wolf pack crime. Go ahead.
Like I described, the wolf pack.
Savino says the suspects in these crimes are in large groups, what he calls wolf packs, like this mugging on August 1st. He says they take off with things like wallets, phones, and bags.
So you could imagine the feeling. Imagine the feeling of that individual, predominantly tourists or soft targets, sitting on a bench and then ultimately being victimized by these wolf pack type robberies. It's tremendously concerning, and it's a new phenomenon, not only to Central Park, but really to the area.
He says many of the suspects in these crimes live in city-run migrant shelters, and their average age is just 15. Police arrested an 11-year-old Tuesday night after he allegedly stole a phone from someone on the number 7 train. Assistant Chief Savino says the same kid was seen on video using credit cards stolen during a robbery in Central Park.
Although they're very young, very impressionable, they do have a big influence on this group. And that's something we haven't really readily seen. It's one of the first times I've ever seen it in my career.
tool that the NYPD plans on using are drones. We're told those will be deployed later this month. But again, for the time being, if you are in Central Park, especially after sunset, they say between that time and 1 a.m., that is when the crimes are occurring.
So an 11-year-old robs a tourist of her credit cards, and then they show a video of him using the credit card. An 11-year-old. That's what we're dealing with. He's just looking for a better life for his family. He's 11. And that's what you voted for. That's what you're voting for if you vote for Harris and Walz. You're voting for more of that. She supported open borders. She supports eliminating detention centers, eliminating ICE, abolishing ICE, and continuing this invasion for 4 more years. To quote Trump, you vote for that, you should have your head examined. You vote for more Wolfpack crime in your city.
Seriously.
Good luck. Good luck.
It's crazy. It's an effective way. I'm surprised that hasn't happened before.
Yeah, they know an 11-year-old's not going to go to prison. They know a judge is going to let him walk. And what's he going to do? He's going to go out and rob someone else. It's not going to go away. These gangs are just coming together, just forming now and preying on tourists in the tourist summer season. That's happened in New York, and that is all thanks to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. There he is, Joe Biden. All right, we're looking forward to his appearance today in Maryland. This has to be the phoniest thing we've ever seen. The two of them smiling and laughing and cheering and clapping together in Maryland. And tomorrow she'll deliver her economic speech. Can't wait. But that will do it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Ironhead. I'm Jerry Callahan.